Assalamualaikum sir, and now I wanted to talk about colonialism. So, what is colonialism? Colonialism is when a powerful country takes a control of another place and its people. They usually force their language, culture and lifestyle on the locals. In Malaysia, this began in 1511 when the Portuguese took over Malacca. Then in 1641, the Dutch took control. After that, the British came in 1824 and stayed the longest. They first came for the spices but stayed because of tin. They also brought Indian workers to help in the mines and estates. Eventually, they ruled the most of the Malay Peninsula, including Sabah and Sarawak. Local heroes like Dos Said, Tok Janggut and Datuk Maharaja Lila tried to fight back, but the British were too powerful. In 1941, Japan took over the World War II, but after Japan lost in 1945, the British returned. This time, more Malays were educated and started to demand the independence. Groups like Kesatuan Melayu Muda and led this movement. After many years of fighting for freedom, Malaysia finally became independent. Now, let's discuss about the reason of colonialism in Malaysia.
Thank you to Haja for her introduction. Now I will tell you guys what are the key factors or the reason why colonialism happens in the context of Malaysia. Have you guys know that one of the biggest reason it is because of the strategic location? Well, Malaysia, especially Malacca, sit right next to the Strait of Malacca. In fact, this strait is one of the most important sea roads in the world. We can say it's like a highway of the sea, and which connecting the Europe, the Middle East, China, India and the rest of Asia. And whoever control this road, this strait, is basically had a grip on the global trade. That's why the Portuguese were the first to conquer Malacca in 1511. They wanted to control the spice trade because it was like a trading goal at that time. Spice like cinnamon, like clove and like peppers were in a high demand, and Malacca was the perfect place to collect them and to distribute the spice. Later, the British stepped in. They took over Penang, Singapore, Malacca and forming what's called Strait Settlements. This place actually gave British a complete control over the trade, especially between India and China, which is one of the two biggest markets. And things got even more intense when Japan invaded during World War II. For Japan, Malaya isn't just about trade. It had rubber, tin, oil, where all of these were crucial for its military. Plus, controlling Malaya gave more access to Japan for other parts of Southeast Asia. In short, Malaysia was attracting attention of colonial power, not just by its length, but because of the golden key to controlling money, power, and military movement across Asia. I think that's all from me for strategic location. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Economic interest was the main reason the British colonized Malaya. In the late 19th century, Malaya became the most profitable British colony because of its natural resources, especially tin and rubber. The tin mining industry was a major attraction. Tin was important for making tin pellet used in canned food, and Britain on tin supply was running low. So, they looked to Malaya, which has rich tin deposit, especially in Perak and Selangor. At first, the Malaya mining tin using simple method, but when Chinese immigrants arrived, they brought better tools and deep mining technique. Later, British investors used advanced machines like stamp pump and dredgers. By 1929, British company produced over 60% of Malaya tins, mostly using Chinese labor. But tin was not forever. It's a non-renewable resource, so the British turned to rubber, which was in high demand for car tires, especially in the growing American car industry. Rubber trees from Brazil were planted in Malaya, and by 1921, the country produced half of the world's rubber. British company controlled large estates, while Chinese and Malaya smallholder also joined the industry.
Next, I will explain about expansion of political power and empire. First, the British came because of strategic economic interests. The Strait of Malacca was key trade route and Malaya was rich in tin and rubber. So, they took over important ports like Penang, Malacca and Singapore to forming the Strait Settlements. Then, they moved inland using their residential system, starting with Pangkor Treaty in 1874. The Sultan still had titles, but the British made most of the decision. Later, in 1869, they combined 4 states into the Federated Malay States, which is Selangor, Perak, Negeri Sembilan and Pahang, to manage the economy better. And real power stayed with British. By 1990, with the Anglo-Siam Treaty, They expanded the northern states like Kedah and Kelantan and eventually controlled almost all of Malaya. They also used a clever strategy called divide and rule, which is keeping Malays, Chinese, and Indians apart in jobs and housing to prevent unity. But not all Malaysians stay silent. There were uprisings like Pahang Uprising, which is in 1891 until 1895, and anti-station movement in Sarawak, which is in 1946 until 1950. In short, the British gained power step by step through smart political moves, economic control, and divide and rule tactics to staying in control until Malaysians' independence.
Now, let's talk about the present of Western Company, the Dutch East India Company, or VOC. Founded in 1962, this wasn't just a company, it was essentially a corporate superpower backed by the Dutch government. At its peak, the VOC operated with 8 times more capital and 4 times more ships than its English rivals. Their businesses plan was simple but ruthless. Firstly, identify the most valuable spices such as nutmeg, cloves, and pepper. Seize the control of the production areas in modern-day Indonesia. Use their massive navy to block competitors like the Portuguese. Here's the interesting part. They didn't even pay dividends to shareholders in the early years. Why? Because every guilder was being reinvested into more ships, more soldiers, and more forts to protect their monopoly. For 200 years, the VOC dominated Asian trade through what we call corporate imperialism, including Malaya. Using both businesses, savvy and military, they pioneered concepts we still see today, from corporate lobbying to shareholder structures, just with more cannons, and colonialism. Now the third one. The British expanded their influence in North Borneo through the series of strategic moves. In 1841, James Brooke, a former British officer, took control of Sarawak. Meanwhile, Brunei became a British protectorate in 1888. The key development came in 1877 till 78, when both the Sultans of Brunei and Sulu signed agreements transferring North Borneo, modern Sabah, to Baron von Overbeck. However, facing financial difficulties, Overbeck sold his right to British businessman Alfred Dent. In 1881, Dent formed the British North Borneo Company, which received a royal charter to administer the territory, while Sabah officially became a British protectorate in 1888. Day-to-day governance remained with his chartered company, a unipublic, private colonial arrangement. Now the second one. While the Dutch dominated Indonesia, the British set their sights on Malaya. In 1786, Captain Francis Light pulled off one of the history's most consequential real estate deals with just 3 ships and some clever diplomacy. Penang wasn't just strategic, it was profitable. The island became a bustling hub for tin, tropical timber, and even elephant ivory, the oil and gas of its day. Here's how Light did it. The Sultan of Kedah leased Penang, hoping for British protection against Siam. But the contract was intentionally vague. When the Sultan realized the British wouldn't defend him, he tried to take back Penang in 1791 and failed spectacularly. What started as a trading post became Britain's beachhead in Malaya, setting the stage for centuries of colonial influence, all from one clever captain and 3 ships.
In conclusion, Malaysia was colonized by the Portuguese, Dutch, British, and Japanese because of its good location and valuable resources. Although colonization brought things like roads, schools, and hospitals, it also caused problems like unfair treatment and separation between races. But with unity and strong spirit, Malaysians fought for freedom. This led to independence in 1957 and the formation of Malaysia in 1963, which is a fresh start for a country and its people. That's all from me. Thank you.